game involved in shutting down the reactor. It's just a matter of knowing which button to press. And fortunately, the panel itself seems to very much suggest that maybe the reactor blowing up is not a good thing, and you should press this button here.
Okay.
For psychology, for technology.
Zoran
Press
will
button
go ahead.
to avoid explosion.
Zoran will go ahead and press that button.
Clippy shows up in the corner. It seems you like to restart the reactor.
Did you mean blow it up?
He's like a little alien Clippy. He's like, it looks to me like you're trying to woggle the garbarble.
Oh my!
As Zarin
Very inappropriate.
presses the button on the panel, the entire room, or rather the entire structure, shakes rather violently for a moment, after which the humming of the reactor doesn't disappear completely, but gets at least noticeably quieter. There are the sounds of, well, falling rocks, like a rock slide coming from far away for just a moment, after which that's it, essentially.
That was the rat.
Out here, like the entrance hall is just like red now.
That was like a rat folk colony built in the torch hole. It's gone now.
Oh god, yeah.
I think that
Sick.
might have done it. At least my teeth aren't vibrating as much.
I can hear what you're saying now, so that's good.
That is amazing work. Pats Zarin on the
Torch
shoulder.
should be restarted now.
Excellent.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. Operation complete.
Good job with Mayanda as well.
Zoran sighs over his heavy wounds. Yes. I suppose we'll find out whether that actually did anything to the torch.
Let's spend the remainder of our time grabbing everything that can be carried out.
Let's grab
We've
everything.
saved the day. Now time for our just reward.
Yes.
When I say,
We grab everything.
Grab everything. Well, there was still the locker over here that you haven't dealt with,
Oh, yes.
which you can't grab.
Does
Pick
the
another
locker
one.
by chance have a key slot that I could use the white access card on?
No, it does not.
Some bitch.
If it did, it was broken to the point of uselessness.
Okay. So I know I can take 20 on picking a lock, but I need to make sure whether this is trapped first. Let's make sure. I mean, they probably already triggered it, but
It is rather obvious to Zarin that whoever tried to open this locker has seemed to do it with a large pipe,
okay.
smashing it repeatedly. If there was a trap, it should have gone off by now.
Call back. I'll take my time with this locker. Why don't you gather everyone? If that ramp leads back up to the northern door, we can take that way out instead.
just beware of the bear traps.
Maybe we should take the elevator.
No, I'd rather go the other way. That's shorter.
Okay,
We
you
have-
can
Chuck through the tire desert.
recover, leather armor hand crossbows from the red folk, as well as a large pipe from the orc.
How many red folk did we take down? 2, 3? Was it? It was
Three.
3. Okay.
In addition to that, they have a grand total of 8 gold pieces, and really nothing else worth of value. You did already investigate the machine in this room.
Took all
Oh,
the
yeah.
tasty things.
Did we find there?
Tasty
The goo
tubes.
tubes.
Oh yeah.
Where the fuck?
There is, of course, the mace-like thing that the gearsman was using, which you can recover.
Uh-huh.
Yep, the time worn thing. I'll go ahead and jot that down. I forgot the
Neural
name of it.
inhibitor.
Neural inhibitor, yeah.
Okay.
In addition, lodged slightly into this machine is a metal cube-like structure with a little antenna peeking out, essentially,
Radio.
which does seem to look functional upon closer inspection.
Uh-huh.
Which machine?
It's essentially lodged in here.
Oh, there, okay.
Yeah.
The biggest, rather literal pile of treasure is, however, the things deposited in front of this statue of a claw here, which contains, among other things, 48 silver discs, a pair of goggles, a time-worn Mad Lance, which, of course, you know what it is because you have one, 2 rolls of sticky, leathery, tape. A small metal cube-like structure with a button that fits easily into a fist, and a helmet of sorts.
Ooh,
Of sorts.
a helmet of swords.
Oh,
Sorts.
sword
No,
helmet.
I like swords better.
Of course, you can also recover the equipment that Mayanda was using, which
Yes.
I'm going to assume you do.
Yes.
No, we let her
There
keep
is
No.
there is the pistol-like looking thing that you have seen her use,
Mm-hmm.
which you would assume is a pistol that shoots fire.
Yes.
Didn't seem to do much to you though.
It missed.
It is worth noting that the pistol does not have a slot for a battery, but rather something that looks very much the shape of the nanite canisters you have.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
Including to that, she has a backpack with usual adventuring equipment, almost rations, a water skin, a blanket, and 11 silver discs, as well as a white access card. She also has 2 extra nanite canisters.
Okay.
And as her last possession of note, attached to her belt is a plastic pistol-like looking object, very similar to Madeleine's, but not quite. And that is all you can recover in this.
Does she have a
sector.
holy symbol? Because that's going away too. Unholy
You
symbol, I
could-
suppose.
She does not seem to have anything made out of silver or gold. She is, however,
It's like
carrying.
amulet or something. Anything she's brandishing while casting her spells?
She wasn't brandishing anything, but looking over her person, she does carry an object made from scrap metal that looks very similar to the statue that is standing here, except in a more portable form.
Let's take that away from her.
Did these 2 orcs have anything?
Yeah, they have pipes.
They have pipes, studded leather armor, bucklers.
Scrap metal.
Also, is the lightning back here?
The lightning is still gone. I just removed that by accident.
Alright. That seems to be all. Let's see if Saren has unlocked the mysterious locker. Also, checking it, does there's a way lead over to the door
Yes.
that perhaps has a white slot unlock?
The door that the long hallway leads to is, well, it's the technology, or rather the metal equivalent of putting a chair in front of a doorknob.
Alright.
Oh, okay.
And if we just had nut strength to break that, that would have cut this mission so short.
Is that good enough? While they're doing all of that to get open the locker.
That is good enough to open the locker, which contains. I can find that. It contains another pistol, a rather large pistol-looking thing with a grappling hook attached, a suit of sorts, another metal thing with a panel and 2 antennae, 2 batteries, and 24 silver discs.
How many silver discs was that?
24.
Got it.
So we have the distinction right between. I'm clarifying that we're making this distinction. There's 3 kinds of silver discs, basically, right? The charged ones, the recently depleted ones, and the completely empty ones, right?
Well, there's essentially the slightly damaged ones, which are just normal silver discs. Then there are batteries, which are charged and sparkling silver discs. And there's depleted. Charged.
So the depleted silver discs are
Could be
not.
depleted.
They're not busted. They can be recharged theoretically.
As long as they're not broken, they are simply depleted.
Okay. So the ones we use as currency are like broken.
They are broken.
Okay.
They're not only depleted, but also broken.
All right. Makes sense.
The The other idea I had, it's a matter of time, though. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to do it, because I don't know how much time is available to us with our water breathing before we have to leave here. I wanted to see if I could... this room that the gearsman was in, it had something like a robot command core damage reboot required. Was that right, Sheep?
Yes.
And I touched the screen. That sounds like something that's heavily pertaining to robots. I would want to make it or attempt to make it through sabotage using this able device to ensure that this thing could never work again.
Saren would think that sabotaging this thing is easy enough by just breaking it, essentially.
Okay.
You could break it with disable device, essentially cutting wires that you think are important, or you could just smash it.
I think I'd rather choose the more finesse route.
Sure.
That
It does
way,
not take long to find a wire that seems to have been essential to the thing.
All right, just that way no one can come down here in the future and try to wake up or make more of these things. I'm sure Rofor would appreciate that consideration.
Most definitely. If asked, you would support anything that is to keep these robots destroyed and down for the safety of everyone.
That's the only other idea I had to think of. I can't think of anything else. You folks have anything that you would want to do before we slowly waddle our adventure asses back up?
Yeah.
Not
Eventually
a lot. Maybe check the other ramp just to see if it leads to anything.
I believe that Jake revealed Pimian that it leads straight into rock. I guess there could be prizes back there.
Yeah, especially Rutho, go take a look.
Yeah,
It is
there you go. There's
completely
the
blocked
answer.
by rubble.
Well, there we go.
Then in that case, we'll slowly waddle our way down using the access ramp, get to the door, remove the chair. The people who brought the bear traps can take the bear traps back.
Whoa, bear traps.
We'll need to make a pulley system crane up out of this lake to pull out the fridge and everything.
Oh, there's that too. I mean, God.
I don't really care, honestly.
We need a pulley, an actual a dolly. There we go. We need a dolly. I don't want to fucking push that thing or try and have it.
Yeah,
We
fuck
need a
that.
dolly.
We need to find
we
out
have-
a way to make the machinery down here produce silver discs.
We have uncovered a literal treasure of technological artifacts. We should harvest all of this for our own benefit.
This is this belongs to the people of Torch. We're
Of
getting
course,
paid for
of
this,
course.
and I think if anything else, we might try to sell that power relay, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
That
and
Clockfather-
on the reactor, right?
Clockfather looks
Sure,
at
Connor
it.
Bane would like to have that, so he could experiment with channeling torch
I know. I
into a laser gun.
I'd feel awkward trying to sell that to my foster parent.
I can do it.
You know, yeah, I mean,
say
we
that
won't do
Chandala
that,
found it,
but
and she's
yeah.
like, "Well, Connor, you see, there's the finder's fee, of
Well,
course."
There is
We'd have to
really
see
part
who
of
has the-
mutual interest party.
Maybe the entire town of Torch, especially united by the Temple of Dry, would be interested in buying the thing. So who could say?
Only 8,000
There's
gold. Or that
literally,
one great
it is priceless. I heard that before. So
There's that
mean-
one great sword that they're 16,000 price tag.
yeah, you're looking at that.
Just before we leave, they don't need it here.
I have one charge left in the time worth Sympathon.
Oh, we sell that now. It's time to sell that.
Yep.
Cash
Serves
in.
its purpose.
Cash in.
Welcome to the
I,
Time Worn raffle. They might have however many charges left.
Whenever I made the case where I was I only want to keep this until we basically the end of this book. Whenever we deal with Mayanda. After that, yeah. And I think considering that put her down, I think that was worthwhile. I fucking loved using lead blades on that damn thing. It's great.
It's the
Really
heaviest.
heavy Stompaton.
She's like, "Oh God, what is this pain? Why
We
is
are
it?"
her, by the way, just to clarify that sheep.
He's gone.
Oh, well, we'll bring
I-
her still.
Of course. I just like that
Leave her in
you.
there,
Just like that
stuck
you backed her up in a corner and then just wailed
What
on
are we
her.
gonna do with her?
We're
We're
gonna
gonna interrogate her, right?
interrogate her. I think both
Take her to
Connor and
a warehouse?
Clockfather is like,
How
well, we need to
officially do we want her to
talk
be
to you.
known?
I want this to be a thing that the people of Torch handle, and I don't think
And-
anyone's gonna be able to make a cousin argument here.
yeah, if that rat shows up, don't even.
Considering how she's the person who ultimately seemed to have carried on all these processes here. Like, she probably sabotaged that reactor or whatever down there, which turned off the torch.
Yeah.
Like, she's the cause for all of this, and she serves a higher power. We want to figure out as much of that power as possible, and then, she's a fellow android, might be able to, like, fucking redeem her or something, Long-term
Love
project.
interest.
But she did revive and make robots try to kill people.
Yeah,
Maybe she should be condemned to death.
redeemed villain.
We haven't gotten that far yet. He hasn't
Maybe
redeemed anything.
Sheep understands a whole lot about redeemed villains. He's playing one, so...
I don't care what Sheep is playing. This lady. Sheep is. I'm sure Sheep is an adorable redeemed villain, but
I doubt she's working with the Tech League. The Tech League would beat the shit out of an android.
Yeah.
no, she is. She's
I'm
working for
just
this
trying to rile up
Scrapwall.
Shantala.
No, she's working for this Scrapwall thug dude, lady, whoever. And she did try. She was totally prepared to blow this entire place up, and she has killed a lot of people being down
I mean,
here.
she probably has enough resources to be like,
Look,
whatever.
I'm not saying slap on the wrist, but I definitely did want to get, answers from her. And
Sure.
We'll talk to her before we give her to the guard, right?
We'll
So,
talk
like,
to
you
her.
can't. You
Well,
can't threaten her. She's under.
If that comes up, I'm gonna shoot her.
She's
I'm
like,
gonna
I
take.
want a lawyer. And we're like,
No. I'm gonna knock her out, and I'll execute her.
We're taking her straight to the council building.
all right, okay.
I think, this is their problem. Like, she's the one who did this to the entire
we have no
town.
legal power and no real proof either, except for our word.
Which matters a whole lot, because I'm the adoptive son of one of the council members. We saved that council member, and the torch is on now. And quite frankly, if these NPCs are going to give us shit and not believe in us, we kill them all.
And
We come down here and we blow up the reactor ourselves. I know how to do that.
We have a screen comes out on top of the torch.
We can begin to point this power at targeted locations.
I as a
right?
player have my limits of how much shit I will take from NPCs, and that would cross them.
But as a player, we're also used to NPCs being complete idiots who don't know what's good for themselves.
I just really don't want her to get away.
Kind of, since she knows how to use all of this stuff around here, it would be nice if you could get that knowledge out of her, how to use all of these things.
I mean, we can trick her.
I just want to know what we might be walking into.
Sure,
whenever-
that's fine.
Why the hell?
Interrogate
Why
her.
all this? Why stop the torch? Why channel the power?
Interrogate her, get all the info from her, and then we kill her.
Well, I mean,
do you have?
We'll get the information first, then we'll decide.
Do we have a prison that is secure enough to hold her?
The garrison's probably the safest place. The problem is that she could be protected
that's
from
like
us.
that's like a revolving door institution. People just walk in and out of that place.
That's why I'm saying deliver them directly to the council building themselves. If they honestly can't, if they are as hapless as you suggest, then they deserve to suffer.
But we don't. She's gonna come after us.
We can leave. There's carrying ground. There's
I guess.
we're going to be leaving. Torch is no longer my problem. And if that so happens that it comes back to bite us in the ass, then that just teaches us as players to never try anything like this again. I would at least like to try and give the game and God the benefit of the doubt here.
I'm okay with talking to her. Let's talk to her.
I'm okay with talking to her. Let's talk to her.
Well, she's kind of taking a nap right now.
Yeah. Well, she's probably gonna wake up when we drag her through all the water.
She doesn't have the spell on her, so
yeah.
Enjoy that, bitch.
Step away. You folks keep going.
Yeah. So I guess we go to.
But if any of the council people are like, it's you. We need to let her go. Then I'm just gonna
punch them in the face. Honestly,
just gonna shoot her. That's what I'm gonna do. We
want to talk to her first, though.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll just talk.
No. We talk to her first, and then we shoot her.
Well,
it's good that we agree.
Yeah.
Grove did leave, but he has already assumed correctly that after resurfacing from the Weeping Pond, you don't even need to turn towards where the torch used to be to realize that it is indeed back online, back active, as the entire cloudy sky has a purple-violet tinge to it. And turning towards the torch, it's certainly far, far brighter than most of you have seen. Zarin would be able to supply that. It is even brighter than the occasional flare-ups, but it is dying down quickly and in a rather speedy fashion.
Stabilizing.
Are people happy?
Hiding in the street, man.
Immediately at the Weeping Pond, there aren't many people. However, if you do make your way to the council hall, you will pass many a people standing in the street simply admiring the torch being active again. Some of them do make the connection that it was probably you, and the person you are carrying around was probably responsible. Most of the people don't actively cheer or anything, but some do walk up, mostly to Zarin, to, well, ask if it's true, and then to shake everyone's hand and look very happy in doing so.
Oh, that's nice.
Sure. We'll make our way there to get a payment before this thing stops again.
But you know, just quickly, it's just an illusion up there. You know, that's the good thing about being a hero. People actually like you. No one ever shook our hand in Way of the Wicked.
No.
They just hated us.
Well, they would
even
have
more.
if you were like not going to kill them if they touched you.
That's true.
Sir, I would touch anything for you, sir. You could never be wrong. That's a lecture.
Yes, little bootlickers. It's true. All right, we move to the council horn sheep, and we send some street urchin to fetch Connor Bain and say, "Come to the council hall immediately."
Like how we can send like people to fetch councillors like that. Just like
We are quite
Get
important these days. And if we say, "Crisis, get here,"
you are no longer important to this town.
we have taken by popular vote. Connor, you can stay because of the water plant. The rest of you,
Democracy, isn't it? You can live at Scrapwall as outcasts.
You can clean these streets.
Well,
and you, Clockfather, oh, do we have something special in mind for you?
fucking coup the town.
Mm-hmm.
Third level adventure.
But then we would have all the politics with the league,
Like
and it would
reactor?
be incredibly headache. Yeah, okay. We go into the council. Jeep?
Sorry. It does take a few minutes until the messengers you have sent out actually come back. As there have been, indeed, multiple messengers who went to the same people. One of them even running to the Clockfather, who is also a member of the council.
Of course.
Indeed. Of course.
They
Yes.
do both arrive. Joram, the Clockfather Joram, eventually muttering, "Oh, you did it then." And he looks at the unconscious woman you're carrying. "We should probably talk inside." Connor
Yes.
simply waves you inside.
Well, let's go inside.
Save the town.
We did. We're heroes.
City. Country.
Our reputation in this town has increased.
As a familiar figure is already waiting in the council room, as well as, well, the two familiar figures you brought with you, essentially.
Everyone is familiar with everyone. There's still these two mysteriously vacant
Old Lady
desks.
Dolka. You know what? I'm just short. No.
You're just gonna
I have been a council member all along.
Also, he should be sitting there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
He should be
awkward.
sitting there.
Okay, better.
It's that Silver Disc Hall who used to have that.
Oh, still this dude, yeah. And then there's one more, probably? Wonder who.
Dolga will in fact address you, point at the empty chairs and say, "That over there should be Miss Otterby, however I don't think the news have reached her yet, and that over there should be Buzz Lundy, except he's sick. So you will have to do with us three. But I think we are plenty of people to hand you the reward that you honestly deserve. And I believe another important topic would be to consider the person you brought. I assume that she is not simply some citizen that you decided to shoot and clubber unconscious, now is she?"
No, council members. Sean has to forward. This is the woman and android, as far as we can tell, Mayanda. She has been leading this attack on the town. We found her in the depths of the catacombs underneath, where she was mixing with some sort of reactor. She sort of waves at the professor. We stopped her. In our opinion, she's extremely dangerous. She did threaten to blow up the reactor and the entire town with it. We stopped her.
Well, I'm sad to see that you haven't shot her dead.
That can be arranged.
She might have information that could be useful to us, perhaps. Like
Connor speaks
why
up.
she was sent from Scrapwall to do such a thing.
And who this
Alright.
Hellion is.
And if more will be sent to do what she failed to do. And what
Connor-
the energy was being used for.
Connor does speak up and say, yes, Dolga, Bloodlust isn't going to get us any answers. However, as my friends over there have correctly identified, there are many questions. I do not think that this is the end of the threat to Dodge. What was the state of the reactor?
The reactor was somewhat unstable and seems to have been reconfigured for some purpose, perhaps for the usage of the power relay. I effectively reset it and allowed it to return to its purpose of burning the torch.
As far as I can tell, the only way to make Torch, well, safe would be to make sure that whoever sent her does not have a reason to return, which, of course, is not an option because that would mean shutting down the reactor completely, which would get us back to where we were before with the torch being gone. That is not an option. So, what are you suggesting, Connor? Well, he shrugs. Honestly, I don't really know.
This Hellion of Scrapwall seems to be behind this attempt. If we take that person out, the threat should subside, right?
Can ask her about that, I think. He seemed to have some sort of claw shrine down there.
That's true. It was very odd.
Perhaps they worship some sort of deity that is unknown.
Well, maybe Pimian could do the
Demons,
knowledge
robots.
religion
Why not?
check.
You
An
could
actual
roll a
knowledge religion, or
as opposed to?
Fake.
as opposed to the
Give me a
fact that I
fake
use
set.
knowledge religion for all for all other knowledge checks also.
No, it would be an honest knowledge religion.
Okay, I'll be lucky.
Well, Lucy.
So, thinking
it's
back
to know
to
that.
what Pimian has observed down there, first of all, the statue had very much an altar
I rolled a
feel to
20.
it, with the piles in front of it being offerings. There's, of course, the symbol that Mayanda was carrying that looked very much like the statue, and, of course, the fact that she was obviously casting divine magic. The symbol, however, the upraised claw, is not one that Pimian knows of any, well, popular god anyways. Even of the unpopular ones, he can't really think of anyone.
She said a name, didn't she? She said, "This is. I'll show you what you get for defying a servant of someone."
It's the Hellion.
Hellion. Huh.
And that is more of a title, I think, than an actual name.
And even if it is a name, I don't think it's a deity. I think it's the Lord of Scrapwall.
It was his name. It was just that he is the Lord of Rust.
Well, why don't we simply wake her up and let her tell us these things?
Sure. Shauna will
Shame I had
uncork
to
her.
sell my hammer, otherwise I'd club her on the head if she lied.
Shauna will uncork her water bottle and let
Like, put it there.
pour water over her
After
head.
like all the water she was already doused in.
He's probably already like sort of groggily awake, having been dragged all the way here. But we could just sort of remove the cloth from her mouth, maybe.
And then she teleports away.
And the sack over her head.
Suckers.
Hey, have a ring of teleportation!
We can draw blades, stand behind her, ready to cut her head off. But, you know.
All suffice to say that people intent on waking up someone who's unconscious will eventually succeed.
He's just about a number of slaps. Yeah, needed. We're liberal with him.
As she does wake up, lying on the floor, slowly scanning her surroundings, looking at each of you for a moment. There isn't so much a hint of, well, fear on her face. There might be some anger, but her face is pretty much a poker face, as she is not really doing anything, waiting for you to act.
Who do you serve?
She slowly sits up, looking for you for permission.
Sure.
As she
Kill her for that.
She can sit.
then says, I serve Hellion, the Lord of Scrapwall, the Lord of Rust.
What were you doing with the reactor down there?
I was obviously using its capacity and its function to generate power, which I then sent to Hellion.
For what?
For his purposes, of course.
Which would be?
To rise from the ashes and make Numeria his. It is simple.
What?
Who is
Hellion
this
is
Hellion, more
ashes?
precisely? And why is he
Hellion?
ashes?
Hellion is not ashes. He has to rise from the ashes, from his underground prison. And he is a god. He is a deity. And you have faulted one of his servants.
Oh.
More than that, we actually shot you and like stabbed you a few times.
Yes.
Did you build and repair these robots down there?
The 2 robots protecting me were sent with me, with Hellion. By Hellion.
Disgusting.
He has the capacity to produce robots.
Filthy.
Is he with the League?
He is not with the Technic League.
Would you?
Sorry.
Bumping into everyone.
Are you drunk? He is imprisoned beneath Scrapwall.
Yes.
And how would sending power to him help? What does he intend to do with that power?
I assume he is going to use it.
Is he a robot?
I have never seen him personally.
Who are you?
I am called Mayanda.
How did you get involved with this Hellion?
I fled to Scrapwall after my birthing. He took me in.
What is going on in Scrapwall right now?
You have to be more specific than that.
What is going on with Hellion in Scrapwall right now?
Hellion rules Scrapwall.
Officially?
There's nothing official about Scrapwall.
Do most of the people there follow him?
Oh, yes.
Will more people like you come for the power under Torch?
Likely, yes. Perhaps not soon, but eventually. Now that I've answered many of your questions, I would like to ask one of my own.
No?
You can ask.
As she turns her gaze towards Zarin in the back. Why would you oppose the one who will eventually reclaim the forges from which we have emerged? He will reclaim this land, and he will need rulers. If you wish to protect this town, then the best way to do it would be to join Hellion. Prove your worth, and maybe you can keep these people. Anything else would endanger everyone.
Zard blinks and says, anyone I wish to serve would not employ the methods that you used here, especially by threatening to destroy the reactor. There are people I care about, and I am willing to take measures to protect them. That is not one such measure.
It was a logical reaction to being threatened.
However, your logic was insufficient, for you failed.
Generally threatening them. Well, all the people the man cares about is not the best way to make him pacified.
Zarin will hold up a hand towards Rothor and looking at Mayanda and say, there were plenty of facts and logical outcomes of that situation. Maybe I may have missed you. Maybe you would have succeeded. But even in detonating the reactor, you still would have failed your objective here for Hellion.
I would have, that is true. I would not have failed my objective if you had not come down there in the first place, if none of these people had come down there in the first place. I did not seek out anyone with the intention to hurt them. Neither did the people I employed.
Chandler shrugs. That's
Russ.
just sophistry, really. You do a thing and then you claim complete innocence when it harms others. She shakes her head. Don't. That doesn't hold at all. You knew full well what tinkering with the reactor would do. Don't deny it.
She frowned slightly. It was never my intention to overload the reactor with the purpose of it exploding.
No, your purpose was to deactivate the torch, thus dooming this town to the trepidations of the Technic League and whatever else would come its way. So you could reroute power.
I was not aware that the town was making use of the reactor's failsafe.
It wasn't obvious from the huge purple light that suffuses the town.
And the name of the city, literally torch.
For a loyal servant of some sort of god, you're incredibly stupid.
Or unwilling to understand things. A lack of wisdom, I would say.
It was not my intention to rob this town of its purpose.
So what are you
then
going to do?
either you are completely stupid or you're just blind. Then
What are you going to do about it now?
I do not believe there's much I can do in my current position.
Relinquish your service and help the town protect itself against what might be coming.
the moment we let her go, she's gonna run away back to this thing she worships.
I owe Saren to try.
This is a matter for the council to resolve, as Mayanda has offended the entire town through her actions. However, I would see it that given the council's and really the entire town's stance on offenses, that Mayanda at least be given the chance to prove herself. She is, after all, an inherent enemy of some unsavory individuals. Technically, given her nature, and I think that she might be able to embrace the realization that she did not consider all possible logical outcomes before making her conclusion. Particularly given her current predicament.
Dolga snorts, says, well, that seems to be the only good thing she has going for her. She's definitely not with the Technic League. Other than that, I say smash her head in.
Well, if that's what you're saying.
That is not the official opinion of the council, I believe.
Steps a little back again.
Shauna lowers her musket. Oh.
I believe that there will have to be a trial, as we do with all matters.
Slight roll of the eyes.
Just make sure she doesn't have a cousin in that rat guy, because he already bailed one criminal out.
I heard about that, yes. I do not believe that the rat folk that you had captured was indeed his cousin, but he is reliable enough.
I will sit with Mayanda when she is ensconced within the garrison.
If you think that is wise, Saren.
I do.
I suppose I will not stop you. That said, I do not think that the bloodlust that Dolga is currently experiencing would be wise to give in to. I'm sure that many of the townsfolk have the same opinion, to just get this menace rid of. However, the town suddenly is no longer special because it has the torch. It is now special because we know what causes the torch in the first place. A machine that is quite valuable in the wrong hands.
It is also information that must be kept from. And then he trails off. Otherwise, they may return and send more than Sandville.
Shonda nods. If they knew all that we had seen under this town, they would swarm this place.
One looks at the clock, Father.
The Clockfather currently looks mostly thoughtful, not really engaging in the conversation. It's kind of continuous. I do suspect that the Technic League at least has some sort of inclination what the torch actually is, but they are happy enough to just take our taxes. If, of course, they knew all the things that you had seen, the state, the rather good state of the things that you and I have both seen, then they would likely come very quickly. It would be best if we try to somehow simply keep the status quo, as it were, without that whole, machinery down there.
How did Mayanda know how to operate the whole base down there?
I do not know. Perhaps you should ask her.
It's kind of a general question I directed.
Where did you learn your knowledge of technology?
I was taught by Hellion, of course.
It seems to be a very hands-on god. They're usually much more aloof. What does he look like? It or she?
My god is very much real, let me assure you that much.
Shonda shrugs. So is Groom, the Lord of War, but he hasn't taught me how to use a gun.
Perhaps he does not favor you.
She smiles. Oh, I wouldn't say that, looking at the bullet holes in her. So what does your god look like?
It may be difficult for Mayanda to make such a logical conclusion based on not having seen her god personally. Perhaps the statue representation would be the best she could manage, given her information.
So how did the god teach you things? Does he talk directly to you?
Oh, he talks to everyone at Scrapwall.
Like heralds on the street corners?
Like voices from the very walls of the city.
Be a machine at the bottom of Scrapwall like the one here, just with a different purpose?
Maybe. Maybe there's a robot stuck in some sort of transmitter device. She shrugs. Just keeps
Zarin like shoots his eyes over like in the room at Connor.
Connor just shrugs.
Whistles. Fill his tongue. I don't know what you're talking about at all.
If my god, as you say, were a simple machine, then how does he grant miracles to those he favors?
As many spirits can can do many grand things.
What?
These machines are spirits in themselves, or some of them anyway. Most I have seen have been malicious in intent, but they can be tricky beings, snaring victims into a false sense of security. That's why we must destroy them wherever we find them.
I think that everything you just said applies to humans far more than it does machines. Machines are logical, easy to predict, easy to influence, easy to trust.
No. I see no logic in them.
Then you have not looked closely enough.
I have a very strained relationship with such things. But I have quite a bit of experience. They will try to act as if they're passive, but as soon as they are threatened, they will attack.
As would any animal or human.
They have no emotions. They have no
They wish to survive just as you do.
They are like demons, devils, evil spirits.
Shauna shrugs. It doesn't really matter what they are. What matters is that they do harm, right? That's why we fight them.
Yes.
Perhaps
Not
they would
every
not do
machine.
harm if you did not fight them.
Similar
Not every
to...
machine
not- that makes
inherently
no
does
sense.
harm.
No, but we shoot those who do. I mean, Shauna sort of shrugs again. Doesn't...
Those that have a bad spirit within them.
Who
Sure.
determines what has a bad spirit? You aggressed upon those repair droids. Upon opening that door, they seem to have no intention of attacking you.
And you sit upon the very proof of my words, a machine that gives this entire town its purpose. You might not consider it a robot, but it is the same regardless.
No, it's different.
Shauna shakes her head at this philosophical discussion about the well-beings and spirits of robots. She doesn't understand.
It is the technology beneath the town which gives light to Torch, and thus its name. It is the machine beneath the ground that allows this town to survive, even in a land plagued by the technically.
Yes, that machine is not a robot.
How are you able to make that distinction?
I know one when I see one.
Do you?
Yes.
Is there some convenient label that you can just look at?
It's a mix of things. It's not something that's easily explained.
Should you be leader then, for you have the capacity to identify what is robot and what is not.
He just seems to consider that and says, if you think that is a good idea.
I don't.
I don't really either. No offense, Rothor, but you have sort of a... you're not very tactical, you know?
He says, there's only so many ways to go about things.
Shauna just shoots a glance over to Saren.
Pimian is
For
sitting
the
through
look on
this
his
entire
face, he
thing.
clearly disagrees.
Pimian's just sitting through this entire thing with an amused look on his face.
Back to the issue at hand, sort of poking Mayanda with her boot. It seems that Scrapwall is the source of our troubles. It seems that if we really want to eliminate whatever threatens Torch, that is where we must go.
This is a problem that appears to expand beyond this town, if Hellion is interested in ruling all of Numeria.
Aye, but we can't really go to the powers that be to stop him. This is something, if we want to handle it, we need to handle ourselves, it
We
seems.
should go to
Yes.
Scrapwall, find out
Yes.
if this is really a god or what is going on.
For those who might be more interested in such things, considering how much Mayanda knew of technology here, just beneath the town, I am sure there is more of that there, including those robots that she brought with her, he says, looking at Rothor.
Whether or not it sounds like this god may be a god of robots. In which case it's something we need, well, something I would want to deal with for the safety of all.
Looking over at Pimian and Keinrich, and I am sure there is much to learn in such a locale as well.
Hellion
Oh, I'm
teaches
sure.
much to those who follow him.
Kind of nods and turns to Mayanda and asks her, like, what did your god teach about the machines under Torch and their purpose and origin and all that?
He told me the object below the town's purpose. He told me the machine that was relevant to him, the reactor. He told me that he would require the things it produces, the energy. He told me how to operate the things I would most likely to encounter, and I extrapolated from there.
Did you go further down? The elevator. Well, I guess she didn't go because the elevator wasn't functioning. Never mind.
most of the
Also, I don't
vehicle
know
was
if
destroyed.
Do we have access to the other areas of that place?
No, the other 2 floors were destroyed.
Unfortunate.
Oh, I'm sure Connor has more questions to her about all things mechanical down there.
Regardless, it seemed that Saren wanted to stay with her in the prison cell.
I shall do so.
Well, it also seems that we agree that we should go to Scrapwall. Do we want to wait then for this trial to happen first?
The immediate danger to the town seems to be absolved. Some time to prepare for such a journey to Scrapwall, sell off some of the trinkets we found, and generally prepare seems to be a good idea, if you ask me.
Yes.
Yes.
I've not been, and we should make preparations for an expedition.
We're also the only eyewitnesses.
It's true.
If such a thing matters.
No, but the funding for an expedition to Scrapwall.
100 miles northeast. It will be some distance.
Jerome does finally speak up, saying, if you intend to travel to Scrapwall, I believe I have a suggestion on how to make that trip a bit easier. I would not advise going into Scrapwall directly. There's a place close to it, a fortress used by Crusaders of Sarenrae often. It is very, hospitable. It accepts any traveler if you are in need of shelter. And it is also a good place to get the occasional rumor of what is going on in Scrapwall. In addition to that, there's a personal favor I would ask of you if you think you are able to. There's an old acquaintance of mine who I believe resides in Scrapwall. She had to flee from the Technic League many years ago, and while I thought her dead for most of the time, I believe she is, in fact, hiding there. I believe she may be of help to you as well.
Perhaps you can write a referral letter so that I'm not introducing myself without any reference.
I think I can give you something better. As he stands up, walks towards Saren,
Saren blinks the Clockfather.
and hands you his holy symbol of Bry.
Oh my.
Saren will blink and he'll look over at the Clockfather and so his face will go to, I can't take this.
Oh, I believe it is the best kind of identification you can carry with you. And after it has served its purpose of proving to her that you are indeed coming from me, you can do what you wish with it.
Zarin will very, gently and, slowly, reverentially accept the holy symbol.
He's trying to convert you.
I
Nobody
already
follows
worship Bry.
He has retroactively succeeded.
We give it over to her. She's like, you killed Joram Kite! It's the only way we would give this
I
to
will
her.
never side with you now.
Damn it.
You can, of course, keep it afterwards, but I do believe that it might also fetch a rather significant price on the market there.
Zarin says, what is value compared to service? As he puts on the holy symbol.
Oh, it's value.
I don't know that one. 2. I'm going to say 2.
Well,
Take it when he sleeps, alright.
I am honored that you would intend to keep it. However, it would border on greed if you kept it when the funds would be of potentially more use to you.
Really
Zoran
say that.
blinks at the gun.
I like this guy. He is practical.
And the
Money
brows
set.
narrow, almost as if the logical circuitry in his brain is who are you to accuse me of greed?
Think of the money.
He says nothing.
If you could provide a name for this individual, along with some telltale appearances, at least of how she used to look, I will attempt to look for her.
Well, her name is Dinvaya. As for how she looks, I'm not entirely sure. She is certainly much younger than me, but it has been quite some time until when I last saw her, and she might have changed her appearance to hide from the Technic League. I do believe, however, that a still very much devout worship of Bright should be rather obvious. I hope. I do not think that he has forsaken her faith. I hope not.
So shall it be?
And once you see her, do assure her that Torch will forever have a place for her. And I do believe that Torch is a good place if you want to avoid the Technic League as well. Perhaps not as good as Scrapwall is for hiding, but much more comfortable.
Particularly now that the trash can be removed from the city streets.
Oh, yes. That, I believe, will be quite the spectacle.
I think that's their huge problem, that there's too much trash on the street when they can't just throw it into the big burning hole.
They were also forging with it.
So shutting down all the craftsmanship here too.
Or maybe they can craft
Terribly
something
few
for us
complaints
now.
about that, though.
A free thing,
Is there-
free crafting.
Is there anything else, Joram?
Well, I do have one last suggestion. If our dear perpetrator here does not seem willing to share information about Scrapwall, there might be a person in town who, however, can. His information might be outdated, but he is originally from Scrapwall, and that would be Junkmaster Jarrett.
Oh,
That guy.
The junk master. The others. He looks over towards the rest of the party. Have had the pleasure of meeting his acquaintance earlier. They should be able to hold a discussion with him just fine.
Good. I'm sure he will be happy to share his stories. And the reasons why he left in the first place.
Yes,
probably to do with his cousins, if I had to guess.
for the good of Torch.
There's also the matter of that apparatus we recovered from the warehouse.
The power relay.
Surely.
Wouldn't really know how to use it, but it is incredibly valuable.